What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Download Q episode 18. We're back after our WrestleMania extravaganza a few weeks back, coming off the highs, entering maybe some lows, but we're on to do better things after some wrestling. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Really good. How are you?
We're kicking. I last night actually, I ended up at a small local yokel wrestling event here because I guess Fargo, North Dakota, which is about 4 hours away, has their own promotion for the past 3 years.
Hell
And
yeah.
like our ice rink and the most like ghetto thrown together thing you've ever seen in your life. But it was good. There was no The Rock, nobody notable, but
Yeah. It's crazy how many like of those indie shows, casual shows that are just around locally wherever you are. Like I remember growing up seeing them putting flyers on cars and like whatever. And even now I see stuff on Facebook of a down the street there's a brewery and every now and then they'll have wrestling the local wrestling indie circuit will come through and they'll set up in the parking lot and you can go get some beer at this brewery, get some food, and watch some indie wrestling. So
no,
I
it's
haven't been, but I don't know. It definitely might be something I end up at by the end of the year, just to go see it. Why not?
just to experience. Yeah,
Also,
like
I love a good brewery. I haven't been to a brewery in a long time, so
it's always
it's gonna
breweries.
happen. And if they happen at the same time, wrestling and beer, hell yeah.
That's a sign it was meant to be. But yeah, this week we got a few things to catch up on. Got some obvious Fallout talk. Got some game rumors, announcements, cancellations, a little bit of everything. And some rumors on my most anticipated time of the year, but we'll get to that later. So I guess we'll start, since it's up on screen. Fallout has made a resurgence. The TV show is out. Player base is rising. I believe the show is sitting at what, like 94 on Rotten Tomatoes now.
Hell yeah.
And God, the fans are happy. I know you finished it, completed it. You're done.
Yes. I am done with it, and it is a phenomenal show. I know you said you're finished episode 3, so we'll keep this. I'll keep it really spoiler free. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with this, but it is from the moment it starts, like it is unequivocally Fallout through and through. There's so many times throughout the whole series, but even from the first episode, it's like you look behind the characters and you see the background sets. It's like, oh my god, there's so much shit from the game and stuff that you can just pick up in the game, right? That's all the items you could pick up. It's cool. They spent so much of money and intention and focus on getting the design and the aesthetic of Fallout to hit, and it's awesome. You know, my wife and I watched it. She hasn't played Fallout, just has watched me casually play Fallout 4 and a little bit of Fallout 76, but she has no idea what the world is, and she is all in on it. And, like, she loves the world, like the world that the show has set up, and it's the world of the games, right? I think it is perfect. I'm so excited. So I don't want to say too much because we just finished it last night, so I got a lot of I don't know. It's so interesting what they're doing.
Yeah, it's, as you said, I'm only on episode 3, and I'm doing that, like, compared to how slowly I work through Halo, because I just had to force myself to do it.
Are you done with Halo?
I think I have one episode left.
Okay.
It's something I don't even know if I want to at this point, especially now after going through Fallout and, like, the extreme contrast of how good that is compared to what I wanted out of Halo. It's just mind-changing.
I know. I mean, and that's like Fallout's huge because of the show. I think it was it hit number 1 bestseller in Europe or one of the European countries or something. It's on Steam charts. It's on most played in Game Pass. All Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, 76 are all in Game Pass, so you can go have fun right away if you have Game Pass or if you get a code or something. But yeah, it got people back into Fallout. Everyone, or not everyone, but it's just dominating the conversation, and people are playing the games again. And that just didn't happen for Halo. And I think when you go back to what directors and executive producers had said for Halo leading up to it, and even post season 1 and during season 2, and then what executive producers and directors said about Fallout, like Jonathan Nolan specifically, he played Fallout 4 as inspiration for Westworld.
Oh, did he?
Because
I didn't know that.
yeah, so he's into Fallout, so this just makes sense. And he said, like, where the quote from before the show came out that got people a little worried and upset, saying we're not making a show that are for the fans to like. It's not, we're not thinking about making it for the fans. And people are like, oh no, it's like, no, that makes sense. Like, don't worry about the fans, just make something that is that thing, right? Make a Fallout show. And they knocked it out of the park. But it is, they didn't shy away from the games like they do in Halo. Like the producers say, like, oh yeah, we didn't play the games and we're doing our own thing. We don't want to be held down by the games. It's like, but that's what you're losing, what makes the games good. It's not the shooty only. It's, there's actually heart to Halo. There's a story to Halo. And when you just try to do your own thing, you risk losing a lot. And they lost a lot. And then you see Fallout. We're Fallout bitches, and we're not going to hide that. We're going to continue the story in a whole other part of the country. And it's a totally different setup, right? To going to make a show for Halo, going to make a show for Fallout, very different starting points, right? What do you do? But man, it just is very sad to see what Halo, the aftermath of the Halo show, what it could have been if they just, made a fucking Halo show.
It could just be like the overall vibe of the games. Like you said, Halo has like heart, and the stories are there if you look for them. But Fallout presents itself so differently in the games and now in the show too. Like Halo, you got the, we're gonna give you a couple fun references you may catch. Where like you said, Fallout's every single scene's like smacking you in the face with references, or just like off the wall shit that you want to know more about, or just small little things here or there that I feel helps the player base accept it more. Because it's like I said before, you're either making it for a general audience and you're making the players mad, or you're making it for the players, and it's not going to catch on with general audience because that's, game stories are so much harder to push in TV form. So like really met right in the middle and kind of got the best of both worlds, thankfully.
Yeah, the goofy aesthetic, or there's a cheekiness to Fallout and a absurdness to the whole world, which definitely helps soften, like, it makes it more digestible, like the brutality of Fallout. Like, it's not the world is awful. It is a awful world. People are awful. Yet there's like I think I replied to someone on Twitter, this like Fallout, there's a sense of peaceful serendipitishness to just being in the Fallout world, right? It's just, you're exploring and you're finding stuff and it's relaxing, and then you come across stuff, you're fighting, and yeah, there's combat, but I don't know, it's just, there's a sense, I get relaxed just hanging out in the world, the music, the everything. And they capture that in the show, and it makes it digestible, I think.
Yeah, and I think you were streaming and I put it in your chat. When I finished the first episode, I was like, this is extremely graphic and gory, like more than I was expecting. But then I'm like, okay, they're doing like the over extreme like VATS kills and stuff like that. Like, makes sense. Go all out on it,
Yeah, and when you think back to playing a Fallout, like, yeah, honestly, the gore in those first couple episodes specifically, like, yeah, that kind of is from the game too, right? Like, you shoot someone with the VATS, and yeah, blood shoots out, their arm flies off, and it's like, it's a brutal world and game, and they didn't shy away from that in the show, which is really good. I mean, look, Amazon Studios made The Boys and knocked it out of the park, and they continue to do so. That game, and then when Gen V, when the spin-off show for The Boys came out, and it was just as good as The Boys, I was cautious still because I didn't want to be hurt, but I was like, all right, Fallout's going to be fucking good. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not going to mess it up. Like, they got this. I know it's here, and man, it's here. It's cool. So you got to finish it.
Yeah, like I said, I want to stretch it out just so I don't want it to end, but it definitely gives me hope. I'm so far, I might have mentioned it before, but I'm so far behind as far as TV goes. like The Boys I haven't seen yet, Invincible I haven't seen yet. All like the major stuff of the recent years is stuff I need to catch up on, and this makes me want to jump into those other projects more so than I was before.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah. Boys is worth it. And you might not be down for the world. I don't know. I think you will be with how much I know you. You know, um, it's worth it. Like Amazon Studios doing some good shit. They're doing the God of War show, I think, or is that Netflix? Someone, whoever, whatever show, they're doing another game show adaptation, and it's like hell yeah, that's exciting because this is great. So whatever show they're doing next is going to be cool.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking it up just to see.
There you go. I think you're right. Where that's Amazon and Horizon's Netflix.
But yeah, so like I mean, it's a proven quantity at this point, and like, hey, we're in the age of good video game adaptations. When you don't lose the heart of what the game is and why people love it, it's not. Don't go do your own weird stuff, you know. But do you have any? Yeah, it is Amazon for God of War show. That's exciting as hell. Do you have so far at 3 episodes in? Are you feeling any desire to play any of the Fallouts?
A bit. I mentioned it to you before too. It makes me regret. Beginning of last year, I went back and finished up my 100% on Fallout 4, like all the DLC and stuff, all the main story achievements, just knocked it out. And now I'm like, damn, this would have been the best time for that. Because I'm in that mood. But, like, yeah. I've played a lot of them so recently, it's not as much. Because, like, New Vegas, too, I think last year, at the beginning of last year, too, I went back and played New Vegas for the first time. So I got that out of the way. The only one would be joining you in Fallout 76, because you've been playing that. And seem to be having a grand time.
It's fun. It's a fun game. You know, there's weird stuff to Fallout 76, but at this point, I mean, it is a full Fallout game that is multiplayer as well, right? Like, but I think what I've experienced so far, I'm like, there's some quest lines, and seeing other people talk about it across many different podcasts the past couple weeks, you know, with everyone back talking about Fallout and trying 76. It seems, you know, it just sounds like there's a lot of depth to this game, more so than it seems, and it is kind of weird to get into. You know, you leave Vault 76, and there you are, and it's kind of like go do stuff, and there's no main driving force to set you on your path like Fallout 3 and 4, because I've only played the beginning, at least, of Fallout 3. I've only played those two. You know, they have there's something that leads you out of the vault, right? But in 76, it's go settle the wasteland. We're reclaiming, you know, we're coming out of the vault to reclaim the world. We're going to resettle it. So it's like, okay, cool, do what you want. But once you get into the quest and you kind of explore the world and do some stuff, it's a Fallout game. You can play it by yourself. The perks are a little weird because you have to earn perk cards. Like, you don't have all the perks. Like, every time you level up, you get a pack, or I don't think it's every time. But you level up, you get a perk pack, and then you choose the perks, and then that's how you get stuff like improving your
like
lockpicking
RNG
skill, or a little bit, yeah, you know. And so, like, you have to kind of put time into the game to get those packs over time to get the build you want. Kind of like, all right, so I see why, you know, that's easily probably the first barrier for a lot of people playing this game. It's like, I don't want to worry about that stuff. But now you can jump straight to level 20. They'll give you a bunch of different loadouts to pick from, so you can already have like a decent, not the best build, but a decent build to start with at level 20. And that's what I did on mine and took it from there. And I'm having fun with it. It's fun. It's the player base, because the people who are playing forever, level 700, level 1,500 something. It's insane, some of the player levels people have. They'll just give you people stuff. It's really cool. I walked back to my town, or not my town, but my camp, and on my bed was a sack lunch bag, which is what they put all the items people can drop in. And there's just a bunch of plans and recipes to do stuff in my workshop and build new items and such. And I was like, hell yeah, you know, right? It's just the community. It truly is really, really kind. I like when I first played at level 20, 3 or 4 people walked up to me and dropped stuff at my camp and shit, and I was like, that's so cool, you know. So now I'm dropping stuff and donating things in the boxes that they have at some of the main hubs around stuff. Super cool. It's fun to try, fun to hop into. Some of the world events are cool. But yeah, you know, yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about it.
I think that was my biggest worry when 76 came out leading up to it, was that online aspect. Because I was so worried about just being griefed nonstop by players, thinking everyone would just be like douchebag, but apparently that's not the case.
No, yeah, and it's not the case at all, and you can turn off PvP in the settings, but I didn't even realize that was a thing. So I've had no issues with people griefing, and I haven't streamed it a ton, but I've played like every night for the past like week. I've played Fallout 76 every night or every other night, which is crazy, and I'm having like a good time. I'm like level 40 something now. Super fun. The one weird thing, and like my issue is like I probably long term, like I wouldn't see this through to like finishing them, you know, doing a lot of the quests. It's just like it's still it needs to be monetized, right? You go to the Atomic shop and they have all these cool skins and all these cool workshop items and all this cool stuff, but you know, you got to pay for that, right? And it's like, all right, I don't. It's still you're putting some cool stuff behind the paywall, and at the end of the day, that is what this game is. They have a monthly subscription, which is $12.99 a month for Fallout First, and what that gets you is you could play in a private world. You get unlimited storage for scrap, which is really cool. You get a survival tent, which is like a movable fast travel point that's smaller than your camp. But you also get 16 or 1,650 atoms, which is like their premium currency. Which, oh, now my web browser isn't working. I think it equates to about like 15 to 16 bucks. So it's like, all right, you're paying $13 a month, and you're getting about, I think, $15 to $16 worth of credits. Like, all right, I guess that works out, but I don't think the other stuff necessitates like, man, I really need to pay a monthly subscription to Fallout for Fallout 76.
That's wild.
So they had this month, it was $6.50. They had it 50% off. So I bought it. I was like, $6.50 is nothing. Let me try it. And what I saw people online do is you spend the month collecting all the scrap you can, dump it in that scrap box. Don't delete it. It won't leave. So you have unlimited storage unless you delete it. But, you know, so like there's weird stuff about that. But you know what? It's a game that's on Game Pass. And if you have that and you have some friends where you just want to play Fallout, like, give it a shot.
It makes me wonder before, like, the player jumped. Because, yeah, like, along with you, 76 specifically has reached over 39,000 concurrent players, beating all previous records. So, like, the game's thriving now. But I'm curious what that business model of a monthly subscription is like compared to something like Sea of Thieves. Because I feel in a way they're both very similar in like the online aspects, continuously playing, like keep coming back, upgrades, whatever. But just the way they approach it.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Being so vastly different, like where is one side better than the other? Like on their end, what are the numbers like that they see?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the tale of people's interest in Fallout 76. When I log in and you look around at the dots that are other players, it's a lot of like under level 20s and just at level 20s or a little above, and they're all near Vault 76 where you first exit, and it's like that's kind of cool. Like we're getting put in the server, and there's a lot of new players, and there's also players that are over level 1,000. And there's life to this game. So if you're interested at all into Fallout 76, this is the time to hop in and give it a shot. Join the public teams. It helps with XP, or just do the stuff. The community is super helpful. They're super nice. So just try it out if you want. And next week though, we get Fallout 4, the next gen update.
Yes.
On April 25th.
Yes. Something most people were waiting for and wanted closer to the launch of the show, which I get, but finally officially announced. That next-gen update is bringing performance and quality mode, allowing 60 frames per second, enhanced resolutions, and updates to the game's stability, which it desperately needs. Not as much as I would say like Fallout 3 did, but there was some major issues in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, I booted up my old saves because I saved right before I left. You leave the original vault where you can adjust everything, so I don't have to do the intro every time. But I booted that up, no mods, turned everything off, and I was like, damn, like this is. I'm walking around the world. I'm like, this is kind of running really good. Forget Xbox has like the auto HDR and the FPS boost, so it's like on Xbox, it's already running 60 frames per second. It looks nice. Like, so I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like long term. But I was like, I thought this ran differently in my head, and then when I went to turn it off, I saw the little icons in the corner. I was like, oh yeah,
Makes
Xbox
sense.
has some cool tech for these games. It just automatically makes them run better. So, but I'm excited to see what this is, what it does fully. I know there's a lot of unfortunate stuff with the mods. Like this is probably going to break or mess up a lot of the mods and the Fallout London team, the big mod that is basically a full new sequel that is just its own thing.
Delayed.
They're delaying that because they're supposed to release it like this week or next week, but the the new mods are coming out, so or this whole update's coming out, so they're delaying that. So it's like things like that. You know, it's not, hey, this is great for everyone, but a lot of work has already been put into Fallout 4 by the community, and Bethesda has this. Like this is something they encourage, right? Their community to be a part of put stuff into the Creation Club and work on the mods and such. So it's like, it's a kind of weird timing, unfortunate. So we'll see.
Which, yeah, there is some, along with the stability updates and stuff, they are adding some of the mod stuff as official pieces of content, actually, with this update. So they're
So
adding...
is that like official, like in the game content, or is it still like in the mod? Like you still have to.
I believe it's being just incorporated baseline into the game. Like, you won't have to download a mod or anything. Like, it's just going to be part of the download of the game now.
Huh.
So they have an Enclave Remnants pack, which features an entirely new quest line, Enclave uniform, weapon skins, armor skins, new Tesla cannon weapon, Hellfire power armor, XO2 power armor, and several workshop items. They're also adding a Halloween workshop pack, which features 38 new decorations for your settlements, and a makeshift weapon pack, which they don't give a lot of detail in, but it says it gives more unconventional weapons, including a nail gun, a piggy bank, and a baseball launcher. So that will also be joining that same update on the 25th. Which,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
cool. The workshop stuff, I have PTSD because one of the achievements tied to it, but I've seen people make absolutely crazy stuff in there. I don't know how different it is from like Fallout 76's base crafting, but definitely
Or
not
what?
my favorite.
Oh, were you saying the Fallout 76 base building?
Yeah.
Fallout 76, I think, is like outside of the map, is the same exact engine, the same exact systems as
Oh
Fallout 4.
God.
Outside a couple like button stuff, like it's just like an updated, upresed, more taken care of, not upres much, more taken care of Fallout 4 engine. But like I'm pretty sure Fallout 76 was built upon Fallout 4 and then adjusted and updated from there. But they're very similar, but runs nice. Yeah, I'm looking through their post. Yeah, I don't really understand what the Creation Club shit is. It sounds like, because it's like they say it's stuff that was previously in there. We're adding it now for free. So it sounds like the Creation Club is stuff that people have to buy.
Yeah, so the Creation Club, from their official stuff, officially supported venue for developers and modders to create and sell their content on Bethesda software games. So people making mods for Fallout could actually be like reimbursed for it if it was premium, like you had to pay for it.
Got it. So yeah, these people did it. They were selling it on there, and now Bethesda's just throwing it into Fallout 4 proper.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. So I was like clicking around their website, and their website has nothing for Creation Club apparently. So they don't want to showcase that apparently.
Yeah, it's something I've never dabbled in just because I'm a weird guy and I like my achievements too much, and I believe any of those downloads like disable achievements. So I've never actually looked into it, but
I've just did one where I was the Flash and I had a lightsaber and I ran around Boston in Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, just one where I was the Flash with a lightsaber. Nothing
And then
major.
I turned them off and I was like, that was really fun. Back to the game.
Nothing major.
No. No, like there's a ton of mods for Fallout 4 that just make the game run better, updates the weather, the lighting, takes out a lot of the bugs. Anyways, cool stuff.
Yeah. There's a 25th, so that's what, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday.
Tuesday, isn't it? Oh
Oh,
no,
is it?
no, I'm wrong.
Thursday.
You were right. I don't know what I said.
But yeah, free to download, jump in. I may have to check out 76 now. My worries are cleansed a little bit. I fell into deep hole this week and downloaded Death's Door finally.
Mm.
And that's been my nightly thing before bed, and I've just been having a ball. So if I pull myself away from that,
That's fun.
I may join you.
It's a fun time, yeah. Yeah, even just like you just wander, do your own thing, join a team, and you get extra XP depending on the thing. It's a fun time. Especially like, I mean, I put over 400 hours into Fallout 4 across stuff, and
Holy shit.
I just love the world of Fallout. Like, I think Fallout and Halo are probably the two main gaming franchises for me, or IP for me, if I'm really thinking about it. Like, those two are, yeah, those are cool. So it's awesome being back to Fallout, being back in it. It just sucks that we're not going to get a new Fallout anytime soon.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think, like, the success of the TV show and the player base now, do you think that, like, does anything for Xbox to be like, hey, instead of waiting for Todd to finish the next Elder Scrolls and fixing Starfield, to give it to a smaller team to do another, like, side spin-off thing?
I think it really depends on what Todd wants to do with it, and if he really can let go of it. He knows he's towards the end. He finally got his baby Starfield out, some game he was wanting to make forever. Elder Scrolls 6 has been announced, but we've seen nothing else. But, I mean, that has to be next. When Fallout 4 was announced, though, it was announced at E3 and then released that fall, right? That year. So, not saying, like, we're going to see Fallout 5 this year or even next year, but it's not like they gave it a ton of marketing beforehand. It was like, hey, here's the first showing of it, and we're going to see it again. Or we're going to see you this fall. Release it this fall. I see that for Fallout 5, so I'm like, honestly, like, who knows? I would hope that they have... I mean, they have a team working on Fallout 76 right now, right? Because it's a continuous thing. How big is that team? They're releasing, like, map updates. Like, they added a whole new section to the map today. Or not today, but recently. Like they're adding that type of content. Are they also, is there a portion of that team, or is that the small team but the bigger team is working on the next Fallout? Maybe. I just, Starfield was something special and different for them, but with the other two, I'm like, you guys were in a rhythm. Did you really just do Fallout 4 and 76 and say we're done? Did they think 76 was going to be the game? I mean, I guess it is now, right? The show comes out, a good thing you have a live service Fallout game ready to go post Starfield. So I guess I hope they have other people working on it, but I'm not hopeful for it. I max 3 years, 4 years we hear from it, or minimum.
God, I would go longer. There has been some talks recently that the next Elder Scrolls is quote unquote in a playable state. Whatever the fuck that means. That could be still just like baseline like building blocks, but
yeah, the problem is how much like gaps they want to give each of their games. I mean, Starfield still has DLC we're expecting, and if it's anywhere close to what Fallout 4's DLC was like, it's in terms of how much we got and how long it kept coming out, right? Like Starfield might be, we're still in the first year of Starfield. We need year 2 to still happen, I think, of release stuff, right? So they're not going to have Elder Scrolls be this fall. Does that make it next fall? Probably not. I think it's even the one after that. So I don't know. Echoing what I've seen across the industry is like, Todd, Microsoft, I hope you're offering a lot of your resources to Bethesda to say like, hey, what do you need? I mean, even if it's even if it's like focusing on 76, I think that would be okay. And then I don't know. We all know Fallout 5's coming, but
Well, that's where it's good because like that's where Obsidian did so well when they got Fallout and did New Vegas. Like, it's not a series that needs to be connected. Like they could easily, if it was Obsidian, whoever in Exile, to go off and make a smaller scale. People, there's rumored of Fallout in like New Orleans for the longest time back when 3 came out. Like, do one there, put one overseas in like UK, put one in China to see the other side of the war. Like, there's so many other places they can go that doesn't need to be tied down to being number 5. And yeah,
Yeah,
they profit off it twice. Go ahead, double dip, make that money.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't want. I mean, I don't think Obsidian is going to touch New Vegas sequel anytime soon with all the stuff they're doing. But I just don't. Yeah, at this point, same thing with Halo though, right? It's like, why have you not let other studios and other teams, or even teams within your studios, get smaller and take shots at smaller scoped projects, different type of things, small little experiences. I mean, I guess, and that's the thing, is like, we as consumers need to then support those things if they do happen, because I mean, Halo Spartan Assault, going back to Halo stuff, like, but that wasn't good fully, right? So I don't know, it's one of those things, like, you wish they would do other things, but would that actually perform well? I mean, New Vegas did, apparently. I never played it, but that's one out of, I mean, that's one game, and then Bethesda has only made 2 Fallouts, 3 with 76, but that's a totally different type of game. So, like, it's not like they've had a ton of to do either with the Fallout. We've only had 3 Fallout games, and then 76, because even though it has to be included now, there's a ton of story to it.
Yeah, at this point, it's
At this point, they fixed that. It's not fair. It's not fair to knock it down like that. So, but yeah, so there's only 4 Fallout games, one of them being by a new studio. Cool. Like, it's just they're taking so long, and it's like, come on, we want Fallout.
Let's say at this rate, I'll be like 40. Just give it to me.
Easily. But I'll still take it.
I'm getting old.
I'll play it on the Xbox eye contacts in my eyes that instantly stream Game Pass games to my eyeballs, and I can play with a
my
invisible control
device implanted in my brain.
Yeah, but hey, it's cool. Fallout is hype.
Speaking of games being announced, we got something a lot of people I've seen hyped for this year, or this week. New Prince of Persia already. From the team at Evil Empire of Dead Cells fame, which has been beloved indie for the longest time now, and finally is just like closing its doors to move on to new projects. And they announced that new project very, very, very fast with the Rogue Prince of Persia. Obviously in collaboration with Ubisoft on the IP. Very much looks just like a Dead Cells clone with Prince of Persia skin thrown on. I believe... Oh, where's my stuff here? Be out... I believe in May with early access on Steam. No other platforms have been announced yet, but you could assume this will come to consoles. Have you played Dead Cells at all? Is this any of your jam?
No, this does nothing for me. I think the art style is really cool. I know Dead Cells is one of those games that's good, and it's just not. I don't know. I missed it, so I have no interest in going back to it at this point. But this is cool. I've never played a Prince of Persia game either, so it's cool. I know the Lost Crown came out and that was really good, and that, if anything, like, that has my interest in a Prince of Persia game right now. Like, maybe I'll eventually buy that, or maybe it's going to drop on one of the subscription game services. Who knows? Eventually, but
easily
probably eventually, right? But like, yeah, it's just missed this franchise as well. So it's cool. I mean, yeah, the art style is cool, I will say. So hopefully it's cool, good for the people that are wanting it. Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah, it's honestly, for me, I think the art style is the thing that does the least for me. I'm not completely sold on it compared to what they had with Dead Cells. But I feel like Dead Cells is up there along with stuff like Hollow Knight. Like, as far as like indie games of the past 10 years that really defined what they were and the genre they were hitting. Like, that's something that's any YouTube video you watch about best indie games or whatever, like, Dead Cells is always there.
Yeah.
And yeah, something I've never jumped into yet. I would love to. Not the biggest fan of roguelikes. I've only really gotten into Rogue Legacy, but a new change on it, always welcome. Um,
Yeah, I went back to Hades because the Hades 2 technical test is on right now, and I'm not really that interested in trying to do that, so I didn't request anything. But went back to Hades. I'm like, hell yeah, Hades is dope.
Hades is dope. Hades was a love-hate for me, sadly. Where I started it, couldn't get into it, and like months later, try it again, and it hit. I don't know what changed, but that second time going back, what an experience.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited for 2 eventually, but I don't want to deal with early access for a game like that.
Your
But
fantasy critics excited for 2 to come out too.
if it comes out this year,
Fingers crossed.
I'd still get points. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. We'll see how that works, but yeah, it's just good seeing Prince of Persia come back. Like you said, we had Lost Crown earlier this year. Loved, and then within 3 months, we get another title announced already. When we went the past however many years with absolutely nothing. So, something cool. Something that's not happening is Dead Space 2 remake.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Did you ever play the first remake?
It's downloaded on my PC. It's there
I hear that.
waiting. Because I never played it when it came out initially, so I'm completely, like, outside of YouTube and stuff. I've yet to touch it at all. So it's there waiting. It's on the backlog.
I rented the first one a long time ago from Redbox. And my TV, I couldn't see anything. It was too dark, so I returned it. That's my experience with Dead Space. So this is a game I'm the remake. The first one, I'm like, all right, I'm saving it for like a Halloween spooky time game. Maybe me and
Exactly.
my wife can play. But the fact, that this news breaks that apparently there was a sequel, the remake of a Dead Space 2 remake was apparently in develop, going to be worked on, and then they canceled it. So that's kind of a bummer to me. I haven't played the remake yet, but it's like, oh man, you're telling me they're not gonna have a where I'm not gonna get Dead Space 2 remake, so I'm not gonna ever. If I went back and played the original, or I went back and played the first remake, I'm not gonna go back and play the original 2 and 3, right? So
Yeah, it's a
I would
weird
never
thing.
beat this series. So that is a bummer. But hey, if it's apparently it's lackluster sales, and it makes sense.
Yeah, pulling from IGN's post about this. Well, the sales for original remake were never announced. It was best-selling new game in the U.S. for January 2023. EA has also announced that the team behind it is forming a new team led by the Dead Space remake developer leads to support the Battlefield universe moving forward, and they are also moving the rest of the team seemingly to help with Iron Man. So, gotta get those Marvel games out, because Marvel prints cash. Which I don't even think... We've hardly seen anything of this Iron Man game to begin with, and I feel like it's been like years that we've been hearing about this.
I mean, we saw a ton of the Iron Man game. Have you played Anthem? Come on.
Oh my god.
Like that's like Sunset Overdrive for Insomniac doing Spider-Man. This makes sense that EA is doing an Iron Man game. I hope that they are like it feels at least enough like it did in Anthem, because it did feel like Iron Man. It felt awesome, Anthem, flying around in those mech suits and stuff. I'd rather have new stuff than a remake in the long term, so that's fine. But if it was something they were working on, they canceled, and that's a bummer for people. It kind of, hey, thanks for working on this. Now we're gonna throw it away. That's not good. That's mismanagement. So, restructuring is fine. I think I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather have a cool Iron Man game, honestly.
I hope it's just literally Anthem, just with Iron Man suit thrown on top of it. Like here,
And
this
that'd
would
still be way better than what
like,
Anthem ended up being. It'd still be better than what Anthem was.
like this is what you wanted. Be happy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks because we talked about it when we talked about layoffs before. But even when games are top selling, whatever, high rated, high reviewed, it's still not enough to not have like further developments canceled or thrown away because it's not the next new big thing. Every studio and their mother is still trying to chase that. We want to be number one game of the year, top player base, like next, not Fortnite specifically, but they want to be that next top thing. And when they don't, they just kind of give up. And very few of them, like Bethesda, stick with projects to try and turn that around, to try and change the image, to try and make that an overall better product. And not just throwing the towel on things, which it's the way things are now, sadly.
Yeah. Money, profits need to not dip into the red.
Do we?
And that affects any type of art, so it is.
That's yeah. That also money in the red. Did you see? I'm sure you have the comments from Mikey Barra about people tipping developers.
Yeah, that sounds like a really awesome idea. And like, what a perfect world to live in where that would work exactly how we all think and
Right.
could imagine it would, right? Like, it makes so much sense. Like no sarcasm. Like, yeah, I wish I could just pay the people directly who make the thing. 100%. We all wish we could just pay the people directly and not have these middle people who have to worry about the money also goes to paying employees, the shipping costs, the development costs, the electricity bill for all the buildings. Like, all that is a part of it, right? So, but yeah, I would love that if I bought a game, it went straight to the pocket of the people that made it. It's not how it works. So adding a tip option, oh, fuck that. No.
Yeah, I'd love to tip $8 to keep your staff around in the long run and not go to your boss's pocket.
Yeah. How about just, take the money I already paid and just keep the staff out? Like, just, yeah. Tip them with what I've already paid them. So it's a little disconnected, I think.
The industry's great. Things will get better eventually.
Oh, it will be, yeah. I mean, hey, you gotta talk stuff out, figure stuff what works and what doesn't. Like I said, I don't think it's not awful. It just would not work, right? And it's so easy for studios and people to be predatory with that practice of people can tip things. Like,
It's the weird thing where people feel like tipping is like, yeah, it's a like, hey, you did a good job thing, like, let's give you extra money, but it's such a American thing, sadly. Like overseas, that doesn't happen. Like, we're just paying people livable wages, and then you don't gotta worry about it.
yeah, tips aren't part of your wage, so tips aren't part of a developer salary, and yeah, it would become a part of a developer salary, just like it is when you're a waitress or a waiter, or you're working in most service places, right? Get paid jack shit, and the rest comes from your tips.
Yeah.
So, great. It would not work.
No. Next thing. My big happy thing. Our friends over at The Verge talking, leaking, not officially announcing, as of now, the Xbox showcase for this year set for June 9th will feature Flight Simulator 2024, Avowed, Indiana Jones, this year's Call of Duty, and Gear 6. And God, am I pulling the hype train out of the station, Kyle. I am feeling all the feels. I am mentally and emotionally preparing. My days off are requested.
Your days off.
God, I am so
Love
hyped.
it.
But yeah, it's...
What about it? So yeah, where is the hype coming from on this?
just in general, I like it's the showcase when it happens is like one of the few times I feel like the community is kind of on the same page. Like everyone's just excited for something and not bitching all the time. And it's
Yeah.
such a small, fleeting moment, and just the unknowns. But yeah, it's early June, usually normal time. I feel like everything they said should be there. Kind of makes sense. Um, Flight Sim obviously avowed last showing before it'll come out later in the year. Indiana Jones, same thing. Call of Duty, obviously that's their top money maker now with Activision in the mix. And Gear 6, which is the only one I kind of raise an eyebrow at right now, just because I feel like that's been rumored for the past two. It hasn't quite happened.
Third time's the charm. What do
It
you
is.
mean?
Third time's the charm. Getting
No,
Gears, Duty, and Halo, Kyle.
That's crazy. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, this lineup, yeah, I think all of those make sense. Gears being the least out of them, but I still think, yeah, I would probably end up predicting that we will see it here this June. Just makes sense, and it's been a while since man Fallout or Gears 5 was like pre-pandemic. That's like the before times. We were all different people the last time a Gears of War came out, or Gears. They dropped of
Yeah.
War.
We have to
So
shorten it.
I know they isn't Gears 6 Unreal 5 too, so
It should be,
that's
yeah,
gonna.
because they were.
I think Xbox has learned not to announce things too quickly, and I think for Gears, honestly, if you're telling me they announce it this June and it comes out spring, hell yeah, comes out in that January, February, March window. That makes a lot of sense to me. I do not see it coming out this fall if they
Gears,
announce it.
no way.
I just why would you pit it against a Call of Duty's coming? It's most likely the Gulf War one based on leaks and reports and whatnot. Like why would you put one of your shooters against one of your other ones? Like there's so much gaps for those types of games, and for a Gears of War, like coming back on an brand new engine using Unreal 5, like give it some space away from other things and plant your flag a little differently. And I think for Xbox, what they're doing is they do their developer direct in January. They announce the slate for the year, and that's like the big stuff for the year with one or two surprises. But I think in June we'll get like the 1-2 surprises, but then they still will have games coming out next year that they have to talk about. So in June, I think so. It makes sense for me. Gears is next year,
Yeah. It's
and not a fall release. Not a fall release. I don't think it's needed.
You don't?
I don't think Xbox needs Gears to be there. I think to let Gears recapture it and not get buried down by everyone, busting their load and fall. Like it's all in the same windows and everyone's like, there's so much to play. Like there was a gap outside of Final Fantasy Rebirth, right? So let's, outside of Helldivers, right? Like what if there was a fucking good ass Gears game where Helldivers came out this year?
Yeah, I get that. I feel if they moved Gears out of that spot, it opens up a lot of what ifs and what would be that fall thing for next year then. Because I feel like now it's Fable or Perfect Dark. And I feel like it would be Fable before Perfect Dark at this point, because I don't think Perfect Dark's ever happening.
They announced Perfect Dark and Fable at the same showcase, right? They're that one where they told us way too much too early.
I think Perfect Dark might have even been like a few months before or something. Because
Really? Okay.
Was it a game?
Oh, it was like
maybe?
the leak. Wasn't it the Perfect Dark was like the leak of like, hey, we're making this game. So it was like to hire people, right?
Yeah.
And then they did a trailer at E3 that year.
Yeah, where it was like going through the city and like.
Yeah, so it wasn't like an official announcement, but there was an official announcement before. So yeah, we haven't seen anything from Perfect Dark. But again, Xbox has learned not to show too much anymore. So the next time we see Perfect Dark, which I think we see it this June.
Ooh.
I think we see it this June. It might not come out right away. I think we see it this June.
Be like the one more thing at the end.
Yeah, or that's Fable. One more thing and it's Fable hits so much harder.
Opening last year with Fable hit hard. Like.
Yeah, but like one more thing and it's like a dive into Fable. Now we're just getting to the June predictions.
Yeah.
I love it.
The one thing about throwing Call of Duty in here also has me curious if because usually the showcase is about like an hour and a half, 90 minutes. If they're not doing like a separate thing for Activision, or if they're just going to throw that into the main show and just extend it out longer.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because with Bethesda, they do their own show. It's the Xbox Game Studio conference, and then Bethesda right after. Last year being the Starfield Direct, which made sense. But
Which maybe they don't this year. Maybe
what
that
did I mean?
is duty this
Yeah,
year.
do they just go the Xbox conference, the Microsoft Games conference, right? And they wouldn't do that. It'd be Xbox. The Xbox conference, and then it is everyone, right? And they get spotlight for Xbox Game Studios, and hey, stage change. Here's Bethesda. They're going to do all the Bethesda games. Hey, Activision now. That makes sense. The marketing is fascinating with Activision because they have yet to tell us what they're doing with it. They have yet to do any fun little like, here's our plan with Activision. Here's the stuff that's coming. Here's where our vision. We don't have Activision games in Game Pass, but guess what? And you can play all your Activision games right now.
What's happening if the...
That's just like backwards compatibility that day. Is like, we are doing this. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah. If
They're going to drop them
leaks,
yeah.
Because, yeah, what was Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I think, was the most recent one with Spyro that got put on, like...
Yeah. Yeah, there's a handful that just keep getting back on the store unlisted, but they're there. It's like, all right, like, they're obviously gearing up for it. And what a trailer you get to cut is all the Activision games that are now on Game Pass. So they're going to want that marketing ploy there. But other than that, like, what's next? I mean, what has Activision been doing other than Call of Duty, right? Like, what are they going to be doing now? So there's a lot they have to figure out. And it wouldn't surprise me, actually, if we don't hear much about, like, we don't get to hear a breadth of stuff about Activision. We just get, like, general, obviously, Call of Duty and some other stuff.
Yeah, because Call of Duty is their machine. Like, outside of that, like, I don't think I could tell you anything else they've done recently. They're not like Bethesda when they picked up so many studios that are all doing different stuff. You picked up Activision with a few studios all doing Call of Duty.
Yeah, so it's not like they are going to quickly be able to go off and do their own thing, right? And make brand new stuff or do work on stuff they want to. So it's going to take some time. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's a hold. The big Activision news is here's these old games and here's what we want for the future, not promising too much, and then that's it for Activision. So maybe it is more of what we've seen in the past with Xbox, Bethesda, and a little Activision stuff.
Do we...
I don't know.
No, I'll save that.
Yeah, we got to get away.
It's the good time. It's getting close. I saw we're now a month out exactly from Hellblade 2. So that'll lead us that'll carry us for 3 weeks till the showcase. And then it just dominoes falling over. Release is happening, get a better view of what the release calendar looks like and what's coming. I will say with the Call of Duty stuff, since they did the server fixes and stuff on the old games last year, that initial week was really good, but all the modders were still back in. I re-downloaded original Modern Warfare 2 this week. That's clean. That is a very clean experience. I haven't had a single lobby that was modded or hacked or crazy shit going on, and everyone's just full. You're getting into games instantly, and the nostalgia. This is what I need. Fill my heart.
Man, get that, it's crazy. The stuff Xbox does behind the scenes with their games and the support and just the stuff their hardware and software just does for old games to make it run well and make it run better. And then the stuff they did for the servers on the back end for these Call of Duty, these Activision titles, that's so cool. And now you get to play these games, and it's all about game preservation in the long run, right? We haven't been able to play a fun match of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from the 360 age, right? Now you can, right? Xbox is doing cool things in that.
Which, yeah, that actually goes in... Oh, God, was it this week? April 8th this happened. Sarah Bond announced that they did form a new team internally dedicated to game preservation.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because
to me, it makes a ton of sense in a, hey, we're doing our own thing and we're choosing to focus on backward compatibility, which we've already done. Now let's be focused on making sure that what we're doing today and what we've done the past couple of months with our games and the past couple of years with this generation, let's make sure that we're going to be able to keep these playable for a long time, to be able to play on other systems. Let's be able to offer that up to other studios that aren't our studios, but hey, if you're compliant, I don't know too much of the tech side, but like if you're meeting these certain requirements, like yeah, your game would be able to run on our platform for us forever. I don't know, like that. It makes sense to me. You can play original Xbox games right now on your Xbox console. So to have a team dedicated to that is not surprising coming out of Microsoft. I don't know what they necessarily are doing going forward.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess what I
was
described
weird.
of just making sure it's still going, but is it going back and getting more titles? Is it something like ROMs? Like, I mean, I don't know. They just put an emulator on iPhone. I've been having a blast.
Have you? I was gonna ask you about that because I downloaded it 2 days ago and I've been playing the shit out of Pokemon Sapphire
Yeah.
again.
And I've known how emulators have worked. I just I don't need to do it. But now it's on iPhone. I was like, let me do it. I'm like, holy shit, I forget now that I'm doing it how easy it is and fun it is. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, it was wild because I've allegedly used emulators like back when I was like elementary school. I was doing this shit. Dumb kids fell off of it, and I'm like, oh, iPhone has one now. I was like, I'll check it out. Every single chance I get now, I'm just playing Pokemon, having the good times.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like I mean, but for Xbox, I mean that they're just making their console an emulator anyways. It's just emulating the 360 when you boot it up. It's the same thing with the Xbox. Like that's all it's doing on the back end in a way. So yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, like we said, what are they doing going forward? Is it just continuous work, making sure everything can go forward? Probably makes the most sense. But I appreciate that. That's cool to hear going forward. That hey, they're gonna they a major hardware game maker, right? Is talking about and has a team they're publicizing that they want to make sure we can preserve these experiences and not lose these pieces of art to the dustbin of history.
Which it happens. Like
Oh, 100%, yeah.
that's the one of my favorite series of all time is Kingdom Hearts, and when they did the initial like HD remasters on PS3, in the time since releasing them on PS2 and then either that office closed or they lost all the data they had, so they pretty much had to like redo the entire thing from like scratch to get that up and going again. So even just on the back end of preservation, like keeping files updated or whatever you need to do to keep that available if you need, like there's places like the Video Game History Foundation and stuff doing it on their own, but like you said, having a major active player help with that in any sort of way, more power to you. I'd go ahead, take what resources you need.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I don't see how this is bad, but I guess it could be. It just depends on what they do. But cool stuff for Xbox.
Cool stuff. But I think with that, unless you got anything else you want to throw in, anything else you've been playing, call it a show.
No, I hopped into Dave the Diver for the first time. That's been fun.
Yes.
But next week, another Crab's Treasure comes out on Game Pass, so that is exciting. For that, I'm excited to play that, and it's my first game that is on my Fantasy Critic that's going to come out. So I feel like I'm finally playing Fantasy Critic now. I'm getting off the bench. But I'm excited for this game. It's cute. Their marketing has been great. There's rumors that Hades was coming out, and then what was the other big indie game that people? Oh, Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong. So then like
somewhere.
yeah, so then the marketing, the X/Twitter account for another Crab's Treasure, Aggro Crab, they posted out like a picture of like, no, like please don't, like just wait, we're coming out next week. Don't get in, we're an indie studio, don't bury us. It's like it's funny, it's goofy. They post stuff like, wait, we can still add these things in the game, and it's like weird crap stuff. So I'm on board with them. I love what they're doing, so I'm excited to play it. I'm gonna stream it. But that comes out next week.
I will say I tried. It didn't happen, obviously, but I tried like 3 times to get you a code for that fucking game.
What?
Through the site, yeah. I sent it through the site like multiple times. I'm like, please.
It's so funny. I did. Oh, I was going to, and then I was like, it's on Game Pass, so
Yeah.
I'll just wait.
You also have, I pulled up Fantasy Critic here, which will have to do like a mid-year update where we're at. You
Yeah,
also
we
have
should.
next week that Tales of Kenzara coming out 2 days before Crypt.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that next. Yeah, because that also comes out, and I picked that up. Yeah, they got that studio is super cool. Um, the developer Abubakar Salim, they released like this thing on YouTube, a little like the story behind the game and why it's so impactful for him, and it's a 12-13 minute little video of just interview with him talking about it, and it's just so cool. There's a lot of emotion and meaning behind it, and the game looks really really cool. So, and it looks like it's a lot of fun to play. So I'm down to give it a try. It's on PlayStation Extra, Plus Extra. I never know what to call them. I think it's on the extra tier for the PlayStation Plus game subscription stuff. So good for them, and gonna hop out. So yeah, we're here. Like, we had a little break with games, and now there's a lot of new games coming out. So this will be fun.
The floodgates are opening, and my backlog just stares me in disbelief.
Yeah, Elden Ring is looking at me like, "Hey, are you gonna come beat me?" And I'm like, you know what? No, because those 2 bosses I'm stuck at before you get to the end of Redmane Castle are pissing me off, and I can't get past them.
Yeah, I threw in the towel. I had to finally. I left Stormvale Castle, explored as much as I could. I was like, I'll get upgrades and come back later. No. I'll just continue watching the YouTube walkthrough. I'm viewing where they're playing as, like, role-playing as Mario. So they're only using, like, jumping abilities and fire and hammers and stuff. I was like, I'll just experience this.
It's so funny seeing those, and I'm like, these people are killing everything by butt stomping everything, and I can't stay alive. So it's really fun. I'll eventually go back. I mean, you only have to you don't have to beat the game Elden Ring to like do the DLC. So I actually might like just aim to get to that part so I can do the DLC and then have fun with that. But it seems like that's kind of the thing with the DLC is people are starting new characters anyways because you're gonna be overpowered. It doesn't matter.
That's all right.
Games are coming out, and there's too much to play as always, but it's exciting.
But with that, this has been episode 18. We will be back next weekend. Hopefully get everything uploaded next week on a normal time. Next Tuesday after we record, I will be flying out to Vegas for 4 days, so schedule's going to be a little messed up.
The future side of WrestleMania 41. Enjoy it.
I'm just telling you.
I love Vegas.
Start saving. I've never been. When I moved to Michigan was the furthest I've ever been from home, and now I'm just sort of tagging along with the family for my sister's 21st. Like, sure, I'll go, but
oh, yeah, it's a fun time.
Scope out.
I mean, it's
hotels for WrestleMania.
Definitely.
But as I said, with that, episode 18, we'll catch you guys next week with fun games to talk about. Peace. Yeah.